This is Kodak ColorPlus film. It costs about $9 on B&H Photo, and it's supposedly the most favorited amongst affordable film types. It is supposedly a descendant of the infamous Kodacolor, which is supposedly one of the best film types that ever came out ever. Welcome back to another iteration of Finding the Greatest Film Type. Let's get right into it.
I'm back.
So, it's been about 2 weeks, and it's actually been a little bit longer. I accidentally left the roll on my desk for about a couple of weeks because I did not want to just have the time to actually take it to my local camera store so that I could actually get it developed. And I'm also in a new location, so I'll explain that in a later video. But for right now, about this. And here's the negatives. I think I'm going to keep it in this because they cut it into 4s rather than 5s, and I always like cut it in 5s, so. But let's see what we got. A wheel in that one. I don't know if you guys can see that. We got a wheel. What do we got here? A very blurry wheel of a Dodge Viper. That's actually not bad. That's got some good framing. I think it's a Pontiac of some sort. I can't remember which one it was, though. Let's see what we got here. Another blurry photo. Another blurry photo. Nice little Corvette. Of course, that's a great little vehicle, an 80s one. Decent Viper shot. That's not too bad. So far, this film is very soft. I know there's a comparison between this and Kodak Gold 200, which I actually really like Kodak Gold 200. That's a stunning pic. Another's one I took of a wheel of like a Beetle or something. I think it was a Resto mod or some sort of like 1959 Porsche. Oh yeah, that looks so good. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, right here. Photographers, if you are shooting at a Cars and Coffee, use film. I think is amazing. The MC12, that was just released very soon. That looks kind of nice. That looks dope. Alright. Front of Aroma, which is out of focus. I gotta keep that one. That one's just like a nice little Lotus Elise. Oh, that's a nice one too. So far, the colors have been really, I don't want to say flat, but they have been kind of not as dynamic. That's actually local to me, so that's really funny. I've seen that car driving around. But it has the Magnum PI plate on it. Dude, that's just the only way to get that thing. That was the coolest color Nissan Skyline I've ever seen. Really cool teal. Let's take these into our computer and see what we got. Alright, we got the first one here. So far, looking at this, it's very green. That's cool. Yeah, there's like this really weird greenish hue. Strange. Okay. Not that I'm not like a big fan of it. It's actually kind of cool. Yeah, here's that SRT. Oh man, that is a cool shot. That one's also out of focus. It was a good shot too, which sucks. That's a keeper. That MC12, nice. I had to get the Romo in there. It's not the greatest quality. That one's pretty good. That one's pretty good. I can go with that. And there's that Lotus Elise. And there's that 308. Alright, ColorPlus film. Start off with the cost rating. Price, it's not that bad. Compared to Kodak Gold, it's also the same price. So, I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10. Color and black and white rating. These images don't really have a whole lot of depth within different colors. They don't have a whole lot of contrast, which is part of the vintage style. So, but with the colors, the reds and all of them are all pretty balanced, in my opinion. I think they're really good for like a tropical-ish type photo shoot. I'm gonna go with an 8 on this one. The atmosphere, the feeling, yes, there is a good feeling with these images. These photos feel very, very, very vintage.
I think I'm going to go with a 10 as well. Style rating. This photo does not... It has a good style to them. I don't think these photos have anything that's really out of the ballpark, crazy good styling. I don't think these photos are shocking or anything like that. They are very much basic, but they're very good. I don't think it has as great as a style as the Kodak Gold, so I'm going to go with a 7 on that one. The daily rating, would I use this in everyday scenario? I would. This is a great film for everyday scenario, but it's only really good in tropical climates, I think, because it's showing that like kind of soft beach Super 8 film type style, and that's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing. I like that style, so I'm gonna go with 8, and the total is 42 out of 50, which makes it 2 points, only 2 points below Kodak Gold 200, which I can see that because it's very, 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 very similar. Very much so. I just think that the Kodak Gold 200 is a little bit more usable compared to the ColorPlus film. I could use that anywhere and it looks great. With a really good price, I can use that. With the ColorPlus film, I think it's great too. It's almost like identical with each other, which is crazy. But the ColorPlus film, there's not a whole lot of variety you can use with them. I use them in a kind of this type of setting with the Cars and Coffee, and it made the photos very, very, very vintage, and they're very good for like older stuff. If you're photographing older stuff or you're making stuff feel like old, that's really good for it. Like ColorPlus film is really good to make that vintage feel. But comparatively of how much you can use it, you really can't use it that much. You could try to do with some modern stuff, but it doesn't look as good as it is